Welcome to Alternative Investments Chat,
where we demystify the world of alternative investments and financing for entrepreneurs and investors alike.
With these discussions, we hope you're more empowered to unlock opportunities in your business or portfolio. I'm Erin.
And I'm Erica. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Alternative Investments Chat. Today, we're diving into a topic that I didn't even know you could invest in.
Yeah.
I think we will kind of talk about that too. Intellectual property.
Yeah.
So if you're a loyal listener, which all four of you, thank you. You may remember our episode where we actually discussed music royalties.
Yep.
So in that music royalties, it's just one aspect of the colorful world of IP. So let's expand our knowledge today and into patents, copyrights, and trademarks.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I also didn't know that there was money to be made in this asset class.
No.
However, investing in IP could be the right fit for an investor looking to diversify their portfolio and generate attractive returns.
Yeah.
But first things first, we got to get our terms straight,
Yes.
right? So let's talk about patents first.
Okay.
A patent protects inventions and technology. This gives inventors the right to exclusive control over their invention for a set period of time. This is typically 20 years. Patents affect your everyday life, mine and yours, everyone who lives on this planet, right?
Yeah.
For the good and sometimes for the not so good.
Okay. Tell me.
So the good is that this can encourage companies to continue to research and develop new technologies and different things. And this also leads to increased consumer choice. So let's think about if you need ibuprofen, you got a headache going on. You can choose between Advil and Motrin. And even within the Advil and Motrin brands, how many different options are there for you to choose
from? The Walgreens version,
right?
Or the
so you just brought up a really good point with the generics.
Yeah.
So the not so good here is that patents can actually lead to the higher price goods. So we know that Motrin and Advil are going to be higher priced than our generics. So how does that even happen? When a generic when a drug patent actually expires, this allows people to make generics, which are typically at a lower cost. I'll take the lower cost ones, thank you.
They don't need to be that neon orange.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, my mother lives by Motrin, and I don't think I've ever heard ibuprofen called anything but Motrin in our house.
Mm-hmm. And they're brand loyalists for sure.
Oh yeah. There's that orange cap. I can find a bottle very quick if I have a headache at my mom's house.
Yeah.
But yeah, myself, I'm gonna go with the cheaper one as long as it gets the job done.
Yep. And it's pretty much the same, right?
Yeah.
So moving on to trademarks here, these protect logos and brand names.
Okay.
So let's think about the Apple logo, the Nike swoosh. These are symbols that have been trademarked, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody can just put the Apple logo on their thing. You know, it's a trademark symbol. So why are trademarks important? Well, this helps a consumer actually identify products and therefore know what they are getting. If any company could create a shoe and put the Nike swoosh on it, well, then you wouldn't be able to tell which shoe is actually a Nike shoe and therefore was of quality versus another shoe that they just put the Nike logo on and maybe it falls apart on your foot.
That's not fair. It also kind of reminds me of our, when we were talking about commodities and the high-end like collector items like the Nike shoe, as you mentioned, or the really high-end purses. Reminds me of the Prado discussion where you like look a little closer and you're like, wait a second, this says Prado.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they can't just put Prada on any bag. And then, like you said, how do you know it's of the same quality?
Right.
And they're going to charge, I guarantee you, the exact same amount as they would at the Prada store.
Yeah.
For your Prado.
For your Prado. Yeah. Stay away from the Prado.
Yeah.
Here's a fun fact about trademarks. So Beyonce has actually successfully trademarked her daughter's name, Blue Ivy.
How is that allowed?
Well, so this comes after a long legal battle, like since Blue Ivy was born. So you might be asking, right? Like, why would you want to trademark your daughter's name?
Yeah.
But according to Jay-Z, and this is a direct quote, people wanted to make products based on our child's name, and you don't want anybody trying to benefit off of your baby's name, which for the very specific circumstances that these people are in, that makes sense, right? I can understand that. They don't want people using Blue Ivy's name to make money and to sell things that maybe somebody gets hurt by a product that's sold with Blue Ivy's name on it. Like that's not a good thing.
No, and as consumers, we're automatically going to assume that it's coming from, if it says Blue Ivy, there's only one Blue Ivy that the world
That
is
we're aware of.
that the world is obsessed with. So of course you're going to think that it's Beyonce and Jay-Z. If it says Blue Ivy, you're going to think it's coming from them. And if it's a subpar product
Or dangerous or
or
anything.
causes cancer, like everything these days does. But you're going to try to sue them. And that's okay. Now I get it.
Yeah.
So I was getting ready to go trademark my name, but I think we're good.
I think you're probably good. When you're as famous as Beyonce, then I think maybe you might want to consider that.
Watch out, Queen Bee. I'm on your trail.
Watch out.
I got nothing. I can't sing, can't dance. So I don't know how I'm going to get you, but I'm coming for you.
We'll figure it out. And then that gives us copyrights. So copyrights, we've talked about that with the music royalties, right? These cover creative works of art, like art itself, software, music, and literature. This gives creators the control of how their work is used. So here is an interesting case of copyright infringement. I'm pretty sure all of us know the song Bittersweet Symphony, because it's a bittersweet.
See, I can't sing. I already told them that. I forewarned you.
Karaoke, This is a song that's by a band called The Verve. Well, maybe what you didn't know is that this song actually samples a version of a Rolling Stones song called The Last Time. While The Verve was actually initially granted the permission to utilize a small sample, the finished product of the song, later it was said that this used way more of a sample than was initially agreed upon. And initially the agreement was, sure, you can use a small sample and we'll split the royalties 50-50. But that kind of went out the window when the song was actually released, and a lawsuit kind of resulted.
Of course.
And actually, the Stones and their former manager were actually receiving 100% of the royalties after the lawsuit was completed. So essentially, The Verve earned $0 on this song that everybody knows.
Yes, that sucks.
It sucks. Up until there's
a bittersweet symphony.
It is a bittersweet symphony. Well,
Sorry,
now
dad joke,
right? Well, now it's just sweet because in 2019, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards actually signed over their royalties back to The Verve. So that is a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Didn't need to do that, but I think maybe after
oh my gosh
20, 30 years, they're like, all right, well, I guess we'll give this back. We've made our millions off of it.
For a while there, that song was everywhere on everything.
It still pops up. I mean, it's still a pretty popular song.
Interesting.
So that's an interesting case of it. And of course, there's plenty more. But last thing I want to touch on are trade secrets. These also count as IP. A trade secret is confidential information a company keeps private through a reasonable measure. An example of this would be the Coca-Cola formula, right? So this isn't patented, but it is a trade secret, meaning that Coca-Cola isn't sharing their formula. But obviously you see there are plenty of other competitors, right, that are similar.
I wonder if this is where we get like the copycat recipes. Like I'll go to a restaurant and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so good and I want to remake it at home, but I don't want to spend the whatever amount it was for that item at the restaurant.
Right.
And I will literally Google like copycat recipe for, and then whatever item it was I had, and see what comes up. And then there's always like 2 or 3, and then I'll kind of look through them and be like, that sounds good. I think that one's what it tasted like, Right,
for sure. Yeah, and we used to work in restaurants, plenty of trade secret recipes there. Lots of people have tried to make their own versions, but they don't know the exact recipe from our restaurants. So
most of them are kept under, like, you have to have a manager passcode, which I always was like, I don't understand. But when I left, or when you have guests who are like, can you tell me how that's made? You're like, now I get it. Now I get it. Okay. So basically that's a lot of vocab. I'm saying copyright, copycat. I've got all these things flashing that, I need like flashcards I'm going to study later when we get home.
Yep.
So I can make sure that I understand this. So we now understand the importance of protecting intellectual property.
Right.
What that actually means for a company. So in fact, companies that own at least one patent, trademark, or a registered design, they actually generate roughly around 21% more revenue per employee than those without any IP.
Interesting.
Tangible edge in the market, if you say so. If I do say so myself.
For sure.
But that still doesn't answer the question that we are always asking here on this podcast. Why do investors want this? Why do they want to be invested?
Yeah. Why would they care?
In intellectual property?
Right.
IP. Give it to me. So intellectual property actually opens up the door to multiple revenue streams and has a big upside for economic growth. So the first one is there is reoccurring revenue.
Right.
So licensing IP, such as a patent, tech, or trademarks, can bring in predictable royalties. I won't say maybe like every day you're going to get, every month, but you're getting something, right? And I think the most known example of making money from is the royalties from music, what we discussed in our royalties episode. So tune into that one. But royalties can also be made on products too, which
interesting.
I don't think people really think about that. For example, if patented technology is used to manufacture a good, the patent holder would be able to collect royalties. So in fact, if you look at your phone, in fact, we don't keep our phones up here. Does it use 3G, 4G, 5G, whatever the Gs are these days? Network? Well, congratulations. Your phone manufacturer is paying royalties to Qualcomm. So those are the people that actually are responsible for that 4G, 5G technology.
Very cool.
So, it doesn't necessarily need to be the actual physical thing.
Right.
It's like they're using this network and that
Right.
you can make money off that.
Yeah.
You have scalability. And intellectual property is an intangible asset, making it highly scalable.
Right.
So this means a patent can be licensed indefinitely. I know you said it was, mostly 20 years, but it doesn't mean, I don't know all the laws on that. So anyone who does, please let us know. But it's essentially an infinite resource. That is until the technology itself is outdated.
Right. But it's not like, if you think about a gold mine, right? Eventually you're not going to have gold there or an oil well, right? Like eventually you are going to deplete that source. There's not going to be anything more. You have to go find another place.
Yes.
And with a patent, that's not the case, right? You can continue to license it, keep using it, keep licensing it.
I mean, Apple probably, I wonder how many patents they have underneath their belt, because there's
thousands.
like, how many versions of the phone, their laptops, their iPads, their AirPods, every single thing. Every single time there's a change, there's a new patent.
Yep.
So if you could get a little chunk of that, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
IP assets, again, like those music royalties, patents, and famous trademarks often hold or increased value, even in those volatile marketplaces or markets. Like you mentioned, gold. Sometimes gold's up right now, but you're not constantly going on the S&P 500 and trying to look and see that things are down. In fact, I'm not sure when this is coming out, and probably by the time it does, this might have already corrected itself, but like Nvidia stocks are down because they're waiting. And it just because of this one stock, it literally brought down the entire S&P 500, which I'm like, this is so crazy how one stock brought it down. But anyway, you don't have to worry about that when you're investing in IP. And obviously, it diversifies that portfolio because it's unrelated to those stocks and those bonds.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into what the people really care about, right?
Right.
The money.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I care about.
Right. When it comes to IP, the paths to profit are kind of similar to real estate. So one, you can purchase patents, right? The easiest way to go about this is actually to work with a patent broker. You can think of this person as your real estate agent, but for IP.
I like it.
And while there are patent marketplaces that exist or have kind of come and gone, none are very popular or have stuck around to really create a big name in this space at this moment. So currently most patent sales are handled through a broker. But once you've added that patent to your portfolio, there are a few ways that you could actually generate income off of that patent.
Nice. As long as when I'm purchasing this patent, the bathroom has a door. Because of real estate. I'm thinking of your real estate example. And the one thing as I'm looking for houses, why do houses, now the master bedroom, has no door on the bathroom? Anyway, okay, so I'm going to have to tell my IP agent this because I'm going to have a...
You have particular
That's what I'm saying.
desires.
Agent, I'm going to have to talk to her about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate that. So you can license the patent, which we've talked about. You let other companies license your patented tech to or good in exchange for royalties. For example, if you invested in a patented technology that was licensed to create a popular, minimally invasive surgical tool, you could make a percentage of the profits from that device that's sold and used. Another thing you could do is buy low, sell high. You could think of this a bit like flipping real estate, right?
Yeah.
So you buy undervalued IP and hopefully you sell it for a much higher price to somebody who wants it. And you get to pocket that extra cash.
I like that one a lot.
Right? There's also enforcing patent rights. Just like copyright infringement of Bittersweet Symphony, right? That case, there's also patent infringement. If someone uses a patent without permission, the patent owner has the right to sue, which could mean a large settlement, right?
Yeah.
And this is actually exactly what happened between NTP, a patent holding company out of Virginia, and BlackBerry. Yeah, BlackBerry, like the phone, like the phone with the ball, that one. RIP. They're gone.
They're gone.
But in 2000, NTP reached out to several companies. They were offering a new patented technology for mobile emailing and communications, but nobody responded back and took them up on their offer. Okay, whatever. Moving on.
Thanks, but no thanks.
But no thanks. But later, NTP recognized their technology in the BlackBerry phone and pursued a case to sue Research in Motion. This is BlackBerry's parent company. After a long legal battle, Research in Motion had to pay $612.5 million to NTP.
They're like, give me my money.
Can you believe that?
I see you using my same stuff. Don't think that you're going to pretend that you're not.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, especially because they went around and offered it. I bet you could have bought it, the technology, for much cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
Put it in your BlackBerry. Does that exist anymore? Ooh, could we go to a museum and see one?
See a BlackBerry? I think my parents have one in one of their drawers at home. Legit.
Bring it in. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I never got to, I had the little flip phone, I obviously had the Zach Morris brick phone when it first cell phone, my mom, and then my mom would make me take it out. She'd be like, oh, you're going to the movies and you take the phone. I'm like, oh, Mom, I don't want to take the phone. Oh, you make me so embarrassed. I have to carry around the brick. I always thought people with Blackberries were so cool, and I never had one.
It was a cool phone. My mom had the burgundy one. It was sick.
She's got to have it in a drawer. Bring it in. Anyway, sorry.
I think she does. Okay, so our last piece here is commercialization. So you could potentially partner up with a company to commercialize your invention, the patented technology, right? Okay. And I don't mean your invention as in you are the inventor. I mean the patent that you purchased.
Okay.
They use the patent that you purchase, the technology from that, to create a product, and they can source the materials, manufacture, and distribute said product, and you get a share of the profits.
I had no idea that intellectual property had so much in common with physical property.
Yeah,
I'll right. say on that one. So now if you're like me, and probably most of our listeners are, you might be thinking this sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So what if an investor doesn't want to personally manage their patent? Well, good news. There's an app for that. There's an app for everything these days, right? No, not really. I wish there was an app for that. But you can hire a firm and they'll do all the work for you, like you mentioned, like your broker. So some brokers even often offer services after the sale of the patent to help you manage it. So, okay, hey, you're coming up, this is going to end. Let's try to fit this into something different. They might get you another patent. Who knows?
Right.
Think of it like a firm, like we said, for like a property manager.
Right.
But instead of apartments, they're managing patents and licensing agreements for you.
Yeah.
So, and as always, there are risks. We love the word risks. So we got to talk about them, right? So there's valuation complexities. So determining the value of IP can be a little tough. Again, if I create something, I get a patent, I think it's going to be, the best next thing since sliced bread. Who says It is. So professional appraisal, market data, and competitive analysis cost money and time.
Yep.
Okay. So, but you have to have those. Plus, there's no guarantee that the patent will actually hit. Like we just discussed, like I think it's the next best thing. It might not actually hit the market that way. So there's no way of looking into the future to ensure that people will use it. And that's a roll of dice. I mean, it's a big risk. But that's pretty much a risk with all of these alternative assets that we kind of talk about. We just never really know. You have legal risks. We always have legal risks. So there's disputes over ownership.
Yeah.
Bittersweet symphony.
Yep.
Or infringement that can lead to costly like lawsuits. We definitely are going to talk about lawsuits here in a future episode, how you can make money on those. But if you're on the receiving side, you don't want to be involved in a lawsuit.
Sure.
So in that BlackBerry case, NTP secured a large amount of $612.5 million, if you forgot. But they roughly had to pay $2 million in legal fees.
200 million.
Oh, 200 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And that's about 1/3 of the settlement. Like that's a lot. People don't really think about that when you sue people or are involved in a lawsuit, like how much actually you end up taking home.
And it can last years. I mean, this is a settlement that lasted years. It took years to get to that point.
Most of the time, everything does, but that's our legal system. So we also have market and monetization. So trend shift, plain and simple. Certain types of patents or brands can become obsolete while others skyrocket in value overnight. You just never know. Remember, most patents expire after 20 years. So there is a ticking clock.
Yeah.
20 years kind of goes by fast if you think about it in the patent world. So also tech moves fast. Ever heard of Moore's Law?
Remind me.
Okay. It states that the number of transistors in a microchip double every 2 years. Yeah, don't worry. I didn't remember that one either. Essentially, the
computer science class.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Essentially, this principle helps us to understand that technology is advancing in an accelerated pace.
Yep.
It is. I mean, look at, again, I owned the Zach Morris. Well, I didn't. My mom and dad did. But like the Zach Morris cell phone, look where we have what we have in our pockets now.
Right.
Completely different beast, right?
Yep.
This means that you could there is a chance that you might buy a patent that is obsolete before you can even see the profits.
Right.
I'm curious to know where the patent is in the brick phone,
if anybody
phone.
using that technology now,
Yeah.
probably not. Okay. So, all right. I get it. Risks are important. We got to talk about them, but maybe we should end on a more hopeful note.
Okay, tell me.
Here are some industries that might be a good place to look for opportunities in patents. Information technology and AI. We are like literally seeing the AI revolution happen before our eyes.
Yep.
And we're living it. I didn't think that was going to happen quite so fast, but here we are.
Yep.
Biotech and healthcare, we're always looking for ways to improve human health. We're searching for that fountain of youth, it seems, forever. So I think that'll always be something that we are passionate about. Automotive, specifically electric vehicles, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of development that's happening with electric vehicles. There's still a long, long way to go. This might be a good place to look.
Yeah.
And aerospace. We are fascinated with space, right? We always want to know what lies beyond the stars. That's just a human thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue probably to spend money to try to see what's out there, right?
Yeah.
So overall, IP can be a lucrative asset with a little bit of strategy and a hefty dose of luck, right?
Yeah, I would say luck for sure. But
Yes.
we'll hey, I'd live on luck. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll stay hopeful.
Yeah.
Industry giants like Apple, Microsoft, Sony, and Research in Motion, the BlackBerry people, all know the value of patents and actually proved this in a bidding war that happened in 2009.
Okay.
So together, these companies purchased a patent portfolio for $4.5 billion from Nortel. This is a Canadian telecommunications and manufacturing company.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the definition of putting your money where your mouth is, right?
Yeah.
This company was going through a bankruptcy, and these huge companies saw an opportunity to swipe up these patents because they felt like they were worth something.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good maybe story to look at, that there's something here.
I wonder what came of any of those patents. Did any of those companies actually use them? Because that's another way.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So
More to learn.
Lots more to learn. So is IP the next big thing in investing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Only time will tell, but we do know one thing is for sure. Intellectual property isn't just legal paperwork. It's a dynamic revenue generating asset class. It really, really is. There's new stuff coming out all the time. And then whether it's licensing, sales, securitization, or joint ventures, IP is powering a new revenue strategy around the globe.
Yeah.
Look out for it.
Yep, that's right. Well, thank you for tuning into today's episode. Maybe share this episode with a friend that you think might enjoy it. And we will see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for more insight on our next episode.
And don't forget to subscribe to continue the alternative investments chat.
See you next time.
Content provided in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as professional, financial, or investment advice. This podcast should not be construed as an offer to sell or a solicitation of any offer to buy any securities. We strongly recommend that you seek advice from a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.